In our continuing quest for spiritual growth, I ran across this Bible verse that's contained in Matthew 6:33, and it goes like this: "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you." Well, that means some things to some people, but I want to share with you an interpretation that is perhaps just a little different than anything you've heard before. I hope it is, anyway. So this is recorded in Matthew, and it is part of the Sermon on the Mount. So Jesus was talking to a bunch of people sitting on the shore and teaching them. But this was a couple of thousand years ago. So he had to speak in language that they would actually understand. You see, 2,000 years ago, nobody knew much about science. Nobody knew anything about the actual age of the earth. And Jesus was speaking Aramaic, which is a very idiomatic language. Each word in the Aramaic language has 2, 3, and sometimes even 4 literal meanings that are different from one another. So it's difficult to translate what that means. In fact, much depends on tone of voice, pitch, and context. So I've never been a fan of Bible literalism. In fact, the Bible literalists will tell you that the earth is only 6,000 years old, because that was the creation story, there are 2 different creation stories in Genesis, Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. So right off the bat, which one is right? Who knows? Anyway, to make a long story short, I want to take you back in time to the Big Bang, which astrophysicists tell us today is literally the beginning of the universe. Now, the Big Bang was a very big explosion. I mean, big. It was 1,000,000 times more powerful than the world's most powerful hydrogen bomb. 1,000,000 times. Yeah, that's a very large quantity. So what astrophysicists now know is that within 1,000,000th of a second of the beginning of the Big Bang, the 4 fundamental powers of the universe were determined in that twinkling of an eye. And those 4 are gravity, the electromagnetic force, and the strong and weak nuclear force. And if they weren't spot on, the universe simply could not exist. So what happened in this huge explosion is that 4 values of the fundamental energies, powers, forces of the universe were determined in a ratio that it just makes it impossible for the universe to exist unless these things are actually exactly as they are. For instance, the ratio between the electromagnetic force and the strong nuclear force cannot be off by the smallest, the tiniest of imaginary Ugh. Fractions, the smallest imaginable fraction. There's the word I was looking for. Senior moments, bless them. In fact, that fraction is so small. You know, and I've done some machining work, and the tolerances are in thousandths of an inch. And a really sophisticated machinery can get into 10,000ths of an inch. And that's 1 part in 1 followed by 4 zeros. That's what 10,000 is. This ratio between the electromagnetic force and the strong nuclear force has to be accurate within 1 part in 100 quadrillion parts. Now that's 1 followed by 17 zeros. That is a very small fraction. And if you add that parameter and you multiply it, but all the other necessary relationships that have to happen in that explosive moment, it's absolutely stunning to think that this happened by chance. It simply boggles the mind. It is literally impossibly huge odds that this could happen just by accident. And there are some very interesting quotes I want to share with you from scientists. Fred Hoyle, the late astronomer who actually coined the term Big Bang, gave up his atheism based on these developments in our understanding of the universe. He wrote, "A common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect has monkeyed with the physics as well as the chemistry and biology. The numbers one calculates from the facts seem to me so overwhelming as to put this conclusion beyond question." Oxford professor of mathematics, Dr. John Lennox, has said, "The more we get to know about our universe, the more the hypothesis that there is a creator gains in credibility as the best explanation of why we are here." And theoretical physicist Paul Davies, educated at Cambridge and on the faculty at Arizona State University, said this, "Through my scientific work, I have come to believe more and more strongly that the physical universe is put together with an ingenuity so astonishing that I cannot accept it as a brute fact. I cannot believe that our existence in this universe is a mere quirk of fate, an accident of history, or an incidental blip in the great cosmic drama. The universe must have a purpose. It may seem bizarre, but in my opinion, science offers a surer path to God than religion." So, what does that suggest? That happened 13.8 billion years ago, which is a substantially larger number than 6,000 years, which is what the Bible literalists believe. What actually happened in that moment? I suggest that it was a super intellect operating in a field of energy, messing with the fractions, creating by design a universe that has unfolded as it has. If, for instance, any of these ratios were off by the smallest of margins, the universe couldn't exist. Stars would never have been able to form. No stars, no sun, no solar system, no planet, no life for us. So it's literally true that somebody had their finger on the scales. When they were weighing out what was going on, it was a put-up job. It was on purpose. Otherwise, you got to believe in the most fantastic sequence of random events. You know, our friend Albert Einstein said, God does not play dice with the universe. And that's really the point that I'm trying to raise. So what I suggest is that in that moment, 13.8 billion years ago, spit it out, 13.8 billion years ago, by design, God, an energy field, created a universe on purpose so that billions of years later we could exist in the way that we are existing. So that takes care of the issue of the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is an energy field. That's the best description, an energy field that contains everything. Scientists now tell us that there's no such thing as a void, as a vacuum. Space is not a vacuum. Space is filled, literally filled, with energy. And I suggest that it's in line, that field that contains all of this energy is in line with what the mystics have been saying for years, for centuries, for thousands of years. And I suggest that our friend Edgar Cayce, who could tune in to the Akashic records, was literally tuning in to this very same field that exists everywhere. Every single cell in the universe is related and made of the same stuff as every other cell. And there, at the deepest level, there is no matter. Everything is energy. What appears to be matter is an illusion. It's a little piece of energy whirling so fast that it seems to be solid. That's just so extraordinary. It's actually mind-bending that not solid. Oh well. For the moment it seems to be. So this next phrase in the Bible quote that I gave you was, and his righteousness. So there's a wonderful book that I love. I've read it 2 or 3 times, and I probably will read it again. It's called Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. And in it, it describes the Essene community that was supportive and out of which Jesus grew and was born into this community. And in this book, Anna describes the coming of Jesus as the coming of the teacher of righteousness. And she makes it real clear that righteousness means, and this goes back to the Aramaic language, righteousness means the right use of energy. It's got nothing to do with being a goody two-shoes. Righteousness? No. It's got to do with the right use of energy. And if you engage in the right use of energy, all of these other things will be added unto you. And to set the context of this Sermon on the Mount again, Jesus was talking about people worried about what they were going to eat tomorrow, what they were going to wear, what was going to happen to them. And basically he was saying, don't worry. Engage in the process of the right use of energy. Align yourself with the energy that created the universe, and you will be just ducky. You'll be fine. Don't worry. Do not worry. Align yourself with the energy. And the energy has some self-described characteristics. There couldn't possibly be a universe created by design that was anything other than kindness personified, loving, abundant, non-judgmental. How could a universe be created that was created by a mean person, or a mean thing, or a mean idea, or an unloving idea, or a limited idea? These traits are self-described in the description of the universe. There couldn't be anything other than these characteristics of the energy field that was the creator. So the message to us today, based on what we now know about the universe, about the way things work, is that we are invited to align ourselves with that energy field. You know from metaphysics that like attracts like. So if you align yourself with the characteristics of this energy field, you will be tuned in and you will have the ability to attract to yourself that which you choose for yourself. So there's some suggestions about a way to do that. And the first one is to visualize the power of the field. See yourself coming into vibrational alignment with the aspects of the field. See yourself, feel yourself energetically tuning in. Turn on and tune in. Align your energy with those characteristics of the energy field. Another idea is to be reflective like a mirror. No distortion, no weird shaped mirrors. You're a plain, ordinary mirror and you reflect what you're energizing, and no judgment. There's no judgment in this universal field. Another concept that you might consider is to expect goodness, kindness, and love. And remember, for those of you who haven't studied the Course, from the Course in Miracles, everything is either an expression of love or a call for love. There's only two possibilities. It's an expression of love or it's a call for love. And the obvious response in both cases is to extend love. If someone's expressing love to you, what are you going to do? Throw them a pie in their face? No, you're not going to do that. And if someone's calling for love, you're not going to hit them over the head necessarily with a club. You're going to take care to extend love in all situations. Another idea is to meditate on appreciation. What is unfolding in your world is what leads you into energetic alignment. It's a lesson that you may not have learned yet. It's something to be worked on, but what's going on in your life is your teacher. It's a teachable moment, and you can choose to wrap your arms around it and say, "Thank you, teacher." Or you can resist and say, "Why me?" And always, 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 it's up to you. And lastly, banish doubt. There is no question, there can be no question that the universe is a friendly place and it was created 13.8 billion years ago as a friendly place. And it's taken a few billion years for us to show up, but who's counting? So, remember, seek first the kingdom of God, the energy field, and his righteousness, the right use of energy, and all of these things will be added unto you. So that's my modern interpretation of a 2,000-year-old verse in the Bible. Now it's your turn.